All right, fellas, I've got 6:30, ladies and fellas. If we have any ladies out there, we're going to get started. For those that don't know me, my name is Brad Markham, and I'm going to be covering kicks, reverse mechanics, and if we have some time, some miscellaneous plays. So I've been requested to start out with just some basic positionings. I'm going to do that quite quickly. So free kicks, we want the bar to be on the in line, lined up pretty much with the kicker so he can judge four on either side. The umpire and the back judge on Team B's restraining line. Recommended heels on the back of the white to give you a wider view. After the kickers pass you, run at a 45-degree angle to about the 50-yard line, somewhere between the numbers and the hash mark. B, you have the goal line on long runs, but you do that from your positioning between the 50 and the numbers and the hash mark. Umpire, if the play goes, just let the play go past you. You don't have any goal line responsibility, and then just follow up, clean up behind the play. H and L are on the goal line pylon. As we said last year, we want you to remain there until the ball's secure and the goal line is no longer threatened. Once it's legally touched in the field of play, you're going to wind the clock. The field judge and the side judge let the kicking team pass you. Stay with your keys, and then move cautiously downfield, 5 to 10 yards. Make sure you read that play. If it's going to break, we need to get on our horses because we've got goal line coverage. So we're going to go through some free kicks here. This first play, number one, the L and the H, we talked about staying on the goal line. So we're going to take a look at this one. And for some reason, our line of scrimmage official is sidestepping out to the 6 or 7. So we want you to stay on the goal line until the ball's secured. You hit the ground, it bounced into the end zone, and we're not on the goal line. So we have to stay on that goal line to judge that. Good hustle, good spot, good hustle by both line of scrimmage officials. Nice job after that. We just, one thing here on the end zone. Umpire, back judge are coming out really nicely. I like that. This is one of those plays that breaks. Umpire, as we said, just let them pass you. You don't have any goal line responsibility. It looks like you're watching the ball carrier, so just watch the blocks. And then, all right, this is play 13. You should have the script so you can follow along with me. This is just a minor issue, but we want the back judge and the umpire to stay put until the kickers pass you. Sometimes we get into a habit of assuming it's going to be a long kick, and we start walking out onto the field before the kick is over. We need to be in a position to officiate that Team A restraining line. And just a little bit about, just to remind us who our coverages are. The S has the number 2 and 3 receiver, the back judge 4 and 5 on his side. The opposite side, the F has 2 and 3 on his side, and the umpire has 4, 5, and the kicker. You can see the back judge already starting to walk out there. One thing I like to point out is we need to stick with our keys. But take a look at the side judge here. He's already turned and is following the ball. So he needs to be back here on his keys. Play 71. Just a couple things here. Again, we talked about we want the B and the U to have their heels on the back of the white, give you a little wider view, just like the S and the F have done it here. Okay, the referee, go ahead and no need to wind the clock in 7-man. We've got the line of scrimmage guys that'll do that. Nice job staying on the pylon line of scrimmage, folks. Following on up there. Whoops. Not sure. Remember, F and S, you've got the goal line, so you've got to maintain that 20-yard or so cushion. So as soon as you see that play break, you need to start getting down towards the goal line. Play 74. Little mechanical breakdown here with the back judge, who's right here. Remember, we said we want the back judge and we're kicking from the 35. So about 10 yards downfield, here to here, and the umpire about right there. B, you do have the goal line, so if it breaks, you've got to make your way to the goal line, but you do that in the field of play. In this instance, the back judge never leaves the sideline. Long break. Yeah, we're a little bit behind the power curve here. We've got only 10 yards, and that 18-year-old kid is running full tilt boogie right there. And we'll see where's the B. But I do like the way you're officiating. You're looking back. You're not just racing down the sideline. And here's our B right here on the goal line pylon, when ideally he should be about right there. Because right now what we've got is 1, 2, and the line of scrimmage official all on the same sideline. Let's just take a look at the end zone here. So we've got everybody hustling. I really like the way he's watching. He's not just running down the sideline. Can't see anything if you just have your eyes focused on the pylon. All righty here. That's it for free kicks. I'll pause here for a moment. Tim, do we have any questions from the gallery?
There are currently no questions.
Okay. So what we'll do, folks, is as we finish each little portion of the presentation, I'll pause for a minute, and then we can catch up with the questions that you've typed in. I think everything there is probably pretty straightforward. I don't have any plays on this, but let's just cover real quickly onside kick coverage. And I apologize for not having that queued up, but I want to go over our responsibilities on onside kicks when we have 6 in the box. Of course, we would have the H and the L up here for an onside kick. So onside kicks, the F and the S, you're primary for touching of the ball by either team. So if we have a touching by the kicking team before it's gone 10 yards, we want to beanbag that. If it's touched by the kicking team past 10 yards, or if it's touched by the receiving team at any time, signal for that is wind the clock, because it's legally touched in the field of play. The H and the L are primary for early blocking and the legality of those blocks. So remember, we can't block before we're eligible to touch the ball. So that's the H and the L responsibility. The U and the B, like a normal kick where you give a little bit of latitude on team A's restraining line, on an onside kick, we want to treat that as a plane. So anybody over that plane before the ball's kicked, we want to have a flag down. So that's our onside kick mechanics. All right, if there are no questions, we're going to go over to punt plays now. Now, as we did before, we're just going to start with positioning. Let's see, that's not right. Let me go back. It's not turned off the, no idea, I'm not sure why. Yeah, that free kick's turned off, but yet they're still showing up. There we go. Now we're on the punts. Just like we did for free kicks, let's just talk a little bit about, positioning. So the back judge, here's something I want you to remember. It's called 7x7. Our back judges are all over the place as far as positioning. The ideal position is to have about a 45-degree look in to the action on the deepest receiver. So if we start about 7 yards deeper than the deepest receiver and 7 yards wider, and then we adjust as that receiver moves to catch the ball, we'll try to always have that 45-degree look. The F and the S start no less than 5 yards behind the deepest receiver. That's kind of personal preference, but no less than 5 yards. You want to be behind the deepest receiver. If we're snapped 45 in, or maybe in pregame you see they've got a really good punter or there's a tremendous wind, we definitely want to have the F and the S start on the goal line pylon. And just like a free kick, we're not going to move off that spot until the ball is secured and the goal line is no longer threatened. Also, the F and the S, you have the gunners on the outside. Make sure they're not fouled, they're not held. And just like any other hold, we want a good hold. We want a good quality hold, but those are your responsibilities as well. So the offside F or S, in other words, the opposite side of the field that the ball's going to, you want to focus on the up backs, the up receivers, if you will, and look for fair catches and subsequent blocking. Sometimes what will happen is that the ball's going deep, but the up receiver signals a fair catch, not sure really where the ball is going to come down. The deep receiver receives the ball, starts to run, and the guy that did the fair catch starts to block, realize that he screwed up. So we know that's a foul, so the offside deep official needs to watch those up receivers. Let's see here. And of course, the umpire is back. This is the second or third year we've done that. Not a huge fan, but that's what Tasso says we'll do. My personal preference is to be kind of tight to the kicker because we've still got our center guard responsibilities, and probably about maybe 5 yards behind. So you kind of keep a narrow to the goal line, but a little bit of a wider view. And a technique I use in successful umpires other than me use is that if you're holding up the kick because of substitution, stand about right here, because guess who's calling the snap count? And if there's more than one up block, I always ask him, who's got the snap count? Okay, and I tell him, don't start until I get out of there. And then when the referee waves me off, I can kind of get back here. Okay, those are the basics. We're going to go ahead and play 6 here, which is kind of show the B position I talked about, 7 and 7. So we'll just let this run. This clean kick. Okay, so I think what you'll see in the end zones, we started in a pretty good spot, but we didn't adjust one way or the other to keep that 45-degree angle. Let's take a look at the end zone. I think you can probably see it a little better. Let's see, yeah. I'll try to stop it and show you where the B actually lined up, which I think was pretty legit. So the receiver was over here, and so our back judge had a good 45-degree in it. But as the runner starts moving here, our back judge needs to shift as well, so that you can maintain that look inside. Make sense? As it is, he's kind of straight line on the catch, and he should be looking in at a 45-degree angle. So we got to be mobile back there as back judges. That's a wider view. You can see it even better. Doesn't have too bad a position. Maybe just a little bit wider and a little bit shallower, but he's got a good look right there, I think. Okay. Going to go on here to play 36 of the punks. This is a good teaching play, I think. We miss a definite targeting here by this receiver right here. Couple of things. Number one, we talk about the F and the S have the gunners. Well, that's a gunner. We need to keep an eye on him. So I'm not sure who's on this side, but the deep official should have had a good look at this too. But what I want to point out is I'll let it run. Again, that's who we're talking about. Okay, right here, the B, not bad. You got a good angle. Maybe get a little bit closer up in here. But as soon as you see a threat coming to your receiver, don't focus on the receiver. Focus your eyeballs on this guy. You can see catch or muff or anything this guy might do out of your periphery. But it's much easier to see a foul if you're looking at the player that's going to make the foul. So again, don't look here. Look right there. And I just slow this down a little bit. Ducks his head. Boom. So I don't believe we got that foul. We should have had 2 flags on it. Another thing that we really don't need to do as a bag judge, we don't need to get up there and get a spot and get a beanbag down. It's not that huge a deal. I think we're giving up our ability to dead ball officiate when we're moving and taking care of a relatively minor mechanic like dropping the beanbag at the right spot. Ball was caught. We got 2 deep officials that are going to get us the forward progress spot.
Hey, Brad, we got a couple questions.
Sure.
First question is from Mike. Question, should the back judge move opposite on a 45-degree angle so he won't be straight line like the previous play?
When you say opposite, I'm not sure what you mean, but you want to maintain that 45-degree angle. So I would suggest you go to the wide side of the field. So in that previous play where the receiver kind of went to his left, which caused a straight line with the back judge probably should shift right. He's got more room to escape, and he's got to get that 45-degree angle. So yes, the back judge has to adjust based on what a ball carrier is.
Next question comes from David Maxwell. If we think about the new rules with head up on the snapper and with Tasso Mechanics putting the umpire in the backfield, offensive backfield, how are we covering the snapper with the new rules?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's one of the reasons I like to be tighter, because I still have the guard and the 2 guards in the center as an umpire. I think if you're tight, you'll be able to see if that person is got a piece of the center. I think the rule says he's got to be in a gap. You can't have a piece of the center. Don't want to fly spec that. It's all about safety on the snapper. So really, if he's head up, I don't know how you can prevent officiate. Maybe when you spot the ball, turn to the nose guard and say, remember, you can't line up head up on the center. A little preventive officiating. Maybe do that in pregame. But I think as far as observing it, the back judge might be able to help. It's probably something that we need to kind of sit down and analyze. But I think as the umpire, if you're tight, you can see that he's in a bad position, and then you can decide whether you're going to flag from there. Good questions. Anything else, Tim?
There's another one on onside kicks that we'll get to towards the end of the end of the presentation.
Anything on so far? Okay, we'll continue on to 7 here. This is just a mechanic, and this is for the referee and the umpire. We'll see here that the S is a little late to the fight to get into position for this double umpire field goal. So the mechanic for that is, referee, you need to look around and make sure everybody's in position. And if you see that this your S is not in position to come in, these guys are ready to kick. We want to make sure all our officials are in the right position so they can officiate correctly. So the mechanic is referee. You put up a stop sign, which is just your hand out in front with your palm up. Umpire, you shouldn't even need to wait for that. If you realize your S is not there, come up and hold up the snap. But the stop sign is very similar to the iron cross, except it has nothing to do with substitutions. It's all about us being in position. So in this case right now, the referee ought to have the stop sign up. The umpire ought to be over the center saying, hold it, don't snap it, don't snap it. When he gets in here, then the referee will wave him off, and everybody's in position and still. This ass is finally gets there. He just never stops walking though, and he's like a foot from the. That's not a good position. We want to be steady still, 5 to 7 yards back. You should probably stop right there to officiate. Okay, so that's just anytime our officials aren't in position, it's really the referee's fault. Timmy, does Kurt have a question?
He does. So the question is, can we address the quarterback as the punter? Do we switch positions? So quarterback's lined up, I'm assuming, as the punter. Does the umpire jump back into the backfield at that point?
In a punt situation?
It doesn't really say on that. Let's take it from a couple of different vantage points. Let's assume that he's in punt formation.
Okay.
And then maybe question part B when he's lined up in regular scrimmage formation.
Okay, so what I'm visualizing, Kurt, is almost a quick kick, even though it may be on fourth down. So we see those a lot in the smaller schools. They don't have a specific punter. You know, the quarterback may be there, 5 to 7 yards back for shotgun, and at the last second he steps back into a scrimmage kick formation. As an umpire, if you're already in the defensive backfield, don't try to make your way over to the offense. I've got a video of that. I don't have it queued up, but the umpire decides at the last second he's going to run through the line of scrimmage and get to the offensive backfield. If you're already in a bad position, just stay in that bad position. Don't get into a worse position. Does that answer your question, I hope?
I believe it does.
Okay. So this isn't necessarily punts, but it's just mainly a position video here. Okay, this is, we want to talk about punts, busted punts, bad snaps. So the mechanic is the line of scrimmage official. If you can see the R on the referee's back, and if he's not wearing one, if you can see the referee's back, that means you remain on the line of scrimmage. R means remain. If you're facing the referee, in this case, I believe it's this official that's facing the referee, then you go back and help with the errant punt. So if you see R remain, then you've got an illegal formation. You should get those, but we're not here to talk about fouls. Bad snap, bad punt. Boom. You ought to be back, and he ought to be staying. But they both go back. Nothing happened, but if they were to kick the ball, we've got a video I'll try to queue up for next time where there was the guy did get the kickoff. It maybe or maybe didn't go past the line of scrimmage, but we didn't have a line of scrimmage official there to tell us that. So if you see the R, remain. Remember, just like a regular scrimmage play, we have to have a pre-snap routine in our noggin, right? Especially kicks. A lot of weird crap can happen with kicks. Just remember that pre-snap routine, what happens if this is a busted punt? What happens if it's a fake punt? Do I stay or go? All those things ought to be going through your mind before the snap. All right. 85. Okay, this is the correct way to do it. So we got the L who's facing the referee. So if he, in his mind right now, if I have a bad snap, I'm going back. That's what he should be talking about. The H here ought to be saying, I see the referee's back. If I have a bad snap, I'm staying on the line. Those are those pre-snap thoughts that should be going through your head. So we go back and not sure why that keeps coming down, but we see the The official that, the official, he's starting to go back, which is good. The H started to go back and he said, oh, I need to stay on the line of scrimmage. So he stayed there on the line of scrimmage, and the official facing the referee went back to help. So that's the way we want that mechanic to work. All right, play 51. Just let this run here. So a few things to look for here. We've got a foul at the snap thrown by the L. We need to continue officiating. So we got, I don't see the bag judge anywhere. Remember, he probably should be around here to get that 45. That's 7 and 7 we're talking about. Gets a beanbag down. Remember now, the F and the S have the goal line, right? So we ought to be 20 yards downfield from this guy. So no, we're not. We're right here. So that was definitely a mechanical breakdown. Let's take a look at the wider view. I think you can see a little better. So 7 and 7, we need to work on that. The deep officials, you've got these blocks in here. This is your nearest threat, F. So you keep your eye on him. Don't be looking at the ball carrier. If we're watching this guy, he's got what we proverbially call a brick in his hand. He's swimming upstream. He's head hunting. He's out for no good. So he's likely to foul. So that would have been great if you'd gotten that. But we're still just sitting here flat-footed. Right now, we're about 17 yards away, but this guy is, again, full tilt boogie running here, so there's no way we're going to get to the goal line, nor do we even try here. Good job with the official here coming up to get the spot. So just remember our mechanics. B, you got to also keep officiating. You kind of just stood right where your beanbag was. You need to come downfield and clean up behind the play. And when it plays over, I'll pick up my beanbag. Okay, so that's not a lot of help for the rest of the crew. Play 68. This is something Brock and I talked about. It's not a mechanics book, but we're missing a lot of blocks on punts at the second level that the umpire used to get. A lot of takedowns between the nose guard and the center. On these plays, there's not necessarily a foul. There may be. But what we need to focus on this year, number one, we need to get those fouls. Those big takedown fouls, I don't care if there's a fair catch or not. If it's a huge takedown foul up here at the line of scrimmage, we need to have a flag on that. Umpire is going to be 30 yards away from that. So we need the L and the H, once we got a clean snap, to focus on this second level block. And here's a potential foul between the nose guard and the snapper. May not be a foul, may be, but the umpire is definitely not going to see that from 25 yards away. So talk about that. Talk amongst your crew on that, pregame it, and let's start doing that this year. The H and the L take a little more responsibility for the second level illegal blocks. And this is just the same kind of deal here. This is definitely a foul that we missed. And I believe it's the same nose guard. As I recall, he was doing that all night, and we missed every one of them. Boom, right there, takes him down. Big takedown. Hopefully we would have liked our line of scrimmage guy to have gotten that. We didn't. So let's work on that new mechanic this year.
Hey, Brett.
Yeah.
Got a question from Gabriel. After the punt, does the U get on his horse and make it to the middle of the field as if he was in the defensive backfield?
Well, you have to make your way downfield, of course, especially if it's a deep punt. You just don't want to maintain your position. But you've got all those blocks, well, not all the blocks, but you've got blocks in front of the ball returner, right? So definitely you have to make it downfield. your positioning is kind of situational, but you're already kind of in the middle of the field. And if you're way outside the hash mark because maybe it was snapped from position 1, yeah, I would probably start making my way towards the center of the field. But you definitely just don't want to sit there. Once the punt's away, you want to start jogging downfield. And then it turns into just like a reverse mechanic kind of thing. Play's going to start coming at you. Number 1, you need to be safe. Find a good safe spot. Number 2, look at the nearest threat to you, ahead of the ball carrier. Let the play pass you and clean it behind. Anything else, Tim?
That's it so far.
Okay, what are we looking at? 29 minutes in here. Let me get rid of punts. We're going to talk about field goal and PATs. And again, let's see. Let's pause that bad boy. Let's just talk a little bit about positioning on field goals and PATs. So we use a double umpire here, right? Anytime we have a scoring kick formation. The umpire still has his guard, center guard, and the S has the tight end and the tackle on his side. And we like the S to be on the defensive strength side. So if there's more people, let's say, on this side of the ball, I don't know, it's pretty even to me, but there may be more over here. And then that's where we want the S. So again, umpire, you have guard, center guard. S, you have on your side tight end, the tackle tight end. The line of scrimmage guys have tight end, wing back on both sides. We'll have all that covered. So that's our general positioning. Of course, the F and the B are under the pipes, and we want the R to be looking in towards the kicker holder. Just like any other kick, we want to play the what-if game, right? What if this is a fake? What if it's a bad snap? What if it is a block and a return? So we've got to always be thinking of those things pre-snap. I don't think none of us are good enough yet to, that's just becomes so natural. So have a good pre-snap thought on every one of these kick plays. So this is just an example of great mechanics. We'd like to have the 2 line of scrimmage guys, once the kick is over, to make their way in, much like the umpire and the S do. Use your voice if it's getting chippy, but it lets the kids know you're there. S and U definitely use your voice. It's over, knock it off, whatever your vernacular is. So that we'll stop. These kids know you're there and you're watching and you're talking. They're not liable to do anything that's going to require a flag. So nice job here, the L and the S coming in. Yeah, just a better view of it. Yeah, nice job all around. Okay, let's see. Now we're going to move on to 96. This is one of those things that we talk about. Let me make the screen bigger. So what we're going to have here is a blocked, looks like a PAT and maybe a field goal, hard to tell. Probably, whatever, doesn't matter. We have the double umpire, the S and the U. And we're going to have a block kick, and then watch what our U and our S, where their focus is drawn to. Good position right there. A little block, boom. They both turn and look at the ball. We got a lot of stuff going on in here, right? We got enough people watching that ball. We got an official here and an official here, okay? So umpire and S, it's kind of like gawking at a wreck. You want to go where the action is, but this is your action right here. The other thing I want to point out on here is, again, pre-snap routines. Line of scrimmage, all the officials ought to be saying, if this ball is blocked, untouched by B, and it goes in the end zone, we need to kill it right away, because that's dead, right? Any kick untouched by B that lands in the end zone makes the play dead. So it's dead right there. Now this happens really quick. I can see maybe this guy not killing it because he's not sure who touched it. But the line of scrimmage guy ought to have a good view that it was untouched by B, went in the end zone. and let's shut it down so nothing happens behind it. So remember, we call that a jailbreak kind of thing, where it kind of just goes haywire. Okay, here's another kind of a fire drill. Let's see. So we've got a ball spotted at about the 34-yard line. Let me go ahead and talk about what we're going to do on fake field goals, blocked field goals, et cetera, et cetera. If the ball is snapped from the 20-yard line in, okay, and we're in a scrimmage kick formation, double umpire, F and B out of the pipes, the head linesman and the line judge have the goal line. So if this is blocked, the guy picks it up and runs, and it's inside the 20, the head linesman and the line judge go to the goal line. And what does the B and the F who run the pipes do? They run straight down the end line to the corner pylons. Because guess what? Block kick, the guy can pass it, right? So we need someone on the corners. So inside the 20, the H and the L have the goal line. The B and the F have the corner pylons. The S and the U just continue to officiate in the middle of the field, blocks in front of the runner, and clean up behind. So right now we're definitely outside the 20. So pre-snap routine, the F and the B ought to be saying, if this is blocked, we need to get to the goal line. You're a little bit late here, but so we can practice that stop sign. Good positioning by the S and the B. Boom. Short kick. This is going to be a return kick. So this is kind of thinking like this as a punt, right? So the H and the L, they need to get on their horse and cover the goal line. The B and the F have forward progress responsibility. So they need to, probably the best way in this particular situation would be to make a beeline kind of over the sideline and then follow it up. Yeah, just like that. This guy's starting to do that. That's great. The S, like we said, the S and the U stay in the middle of the field and officiate. Looks like we might have a lot of ball watching going on here. The H, this guy's running pretty good. You might want to start thinking about getting down closer to the goal line. And then our B, remember you got to get over here to the sideline because you've got forward progress on this return. Because we don't have an S anymore. He's in the middle of the field. But in this play, he's retreating off the field. So now we've got two officials on this side. Neither one of them are breaking towards the goal line. Luckily, this was tackled before they got there. But again, those are those things in kicks. What are we going to do? Who's going to cover what? Keep those things in mind. All righty. Play 72. Let's see, we got 21 minutes. This is a blocked field goal from the 25. So I'm going to ask this question. I won't hear anybody's answer, but answer it in your mind. If this is blocked, who's got the goal line? Good answer. It's the F and the B. But you got to be thinking about that before this is ever snapped. All right, jailbreak. These guys ought to be making their way over to the pylons. I'm sorry, the goal lines. Misspoke. They've got goal line responsibility, the F and the B. He's getting over somewhere, but he's nowhere near the goal line. This fellow's not doing anything. So we've got a play that's within a yard or two of the goal line and nobody's there. From the time that ball was mishandled to this point here is 7 seconds. I think any B should be able to get over here in 7 seconds if he's thought before the ball was snapped what he's going to do in that situation. let's see, let's play 72. We're going to go in here and play 8. Kind of another fire drill here. We have so this is obviously inside the 20. So we want the F and the B to go to the corner pylons in this. And again, you're thinking about this right now. Where do I go if this is blocked? Where do I go if this is a fake? And the H and the L obviously have the goal line. All right, so this is what we need to do. F to the pylon, B to the pylon, L to the goal line, H to the goal line. Okay, so remember those mechanics. It's all about the pre-snap routine in your noggin. I want to talk about swinging gate mechanics. A lot of high school teams do this. If there's no kicker or holder, and they're not in the scrimmage kick formation, we want the S, the second umpire, and the F to be in their normal positions, okay? The F would be up here, the S would be at the other pylon. If they snap right now, we have no one covering the corner pylons. Now, what should happen when they shift? Referee, you go to that stop sign because our officials aren't in position, right? Umpire, you come up, make sure that ball's not going to be snapped. And that's when the S and the F go to their positions. Okay? Pretty straightforward. If they're not in the scrimmage kick formation, no kicker or holder, we're in our normal scrimmage play positions. The S on the corner and the F on the corner. Once they shift into a scrimmage kick formation, now we have a kicker and a holder. Referee put up the stop sign, umpire get over the ball, S get in position as a double umpire, and the F come under the pipe. This is just another example of the same thing, but so we don't have a scrimmage kick formation. So the S again, you should be over there. The F is not here yet. He's in his proper position over here. So we just need to make sure that happens. So, right here they snapped it. We're not doing much good sitting right there. We've got the S corner exposed, if you will. Now they've shifted. Now we'll come in. Referee put up the stop sign. Umpire stop the play. And then in position, umpire or referee can wave them off, and we're good to go. Show you an example of a well officiated swinging gate. So we've got. This is just because the referee is in the iron cross for the sub. But we've got everybody in the normal position. We've got the B here, we've got the F there, we've got the S over here, or maybe backwards, 2.5. But we're in proper position right now. Now they shift. Check out my umpire. Do not snap that ball. So he's in there, tell him not to snap it. And our S is coming in, and our F is coming in, just like we should. Referee's not necessarily getting the stop sign, but they say the umpire, you need to kind of know that instinctively, and you need to stop that until everybody gets in position. Now the referee waves you back, umpire. Now we're in position to officiate the normal PAT here. All right. That is it for the kicks. Any questions on the kicks before I go to reverse mechanics?
Not right now. It seems like we've answered them all.
Okay.
Hey, just real quick, there's a couple of you guys that have your hands up. I don't know if that was on purpose, but if you have a question, type it into the the Q&A, and we'll respond. Thank you, Robert Moreno.
Okay, let me do something real quick here. We've got 15 minutes. I'll go through this kind of fast. I don't want to be rushed, but pretty much reverse mechanics is where we get into trouble is the L and the H are late getting to the goal line or even breaking towards the goal line. So remember, we've got to do that. Interception. So our line of scrimmage guys are flat-footed. It's not instinctual yet. It should be. They should be running back. We're playing this like it's almost like it's a 5-man. Although I'll argue the 5-man, he should be at the goal line as well. So the 2 line of scrimmage folks got to make it to the goal line. And then the F and the S have the forward progress spot. I want to commend the umpire here. Good job on watching blocks out in front and getting this blindside block. Good job, Gus. Let's see. What I want to talk about here is that when we have a turnover, the R, you've got no goal line responsibilities. So that's good for you. You don't got to run. But what you got to do is stay with your quarterback. He's your baby the whole play. Remember, he's considered a defensive player throughout the remainder of the play after the turnover. So he can't be struck in the head. Okay? This is like this run. Yeah, interception, quarterback's clobbered, and we've got our R running back to the goal line. Remember, we've got 2 wing officials that got that goal line. What the R needs to be concerned with is what's going to happen to his quarterback. Nothing happens here, but he could be waylaid and nobody has an eye on that. Yeah, this is something from last night, but we want the H, right? Start from the 3, snap, goal line. We don't do that. We kind of make up for it here, though, because we're getting on our horse. Good job. We're running. We're officiating. We're looking over our shoulder. The deep official's coming up to get the spot. Just the way we want to do it. This is a fumble turnover. So what we got to do, we do have a fumble, so we can't necessarily, our line of scrimmage guys bust towards the goal line because we don't have a turnover yet, right? We've got to play that fumble. So I might have even expected the L to come down a little bit to help on that. The H looks like he was playing for a forward progress there. But once we see, now we see that the line of scrimmage guys need to get to the goal line. The F, good job focusing. I can see you're looking in there. And you clearly have forward progress, but looks like your line of scrimmage guy comes in and takes that from you. Okay, this is one that, you know, if there's a turnover in the vicinity of the line of scrimmage guys, realistically, we don't expect you to be out in front of that play. As a matter of fact, you probably get hurt if you try to get out in front of that play. So if you're trailing the play for whatever reason, and the ball and the player's tackled right in front of you, just go ahead and take the spot. Don't run past it. It looks kind of silly, and we're not really officiating anymore. We're trying to officiate for the film. Hey, we didn't get the spot. But if it makes sense and you're behind the play already because you're beat, go ahead and get that spot. So here's an instance where that happens. Real tight interception. It takes a little bit of time to process that. So our headline, our H there is, he says, there's no way I can get out in front of this guy. I'm just going to get hurt if I do because he's running towards the sideline. So now I'm just going to trail it. And I'm going to get this spot because it makes sense. It's right in front of me. Nope, but I go right on past it. So just do what makes common sense. In that case, F, don't run over your poor H. Great job here with this crew. Watch, man, he shifts. He recognized it right away. Our deep official, both reacting almost instantaneously. That's muscle memory right there. And see how he's looking back as he's running towards the goal line? He's going to see fouls. Same way on this side. Just at the very end, for some reason, our deep official on this side doesn't quite, he slows down. It almost gets hurt. So just deep official, make sure you get down towards that goal line. But for the most part, that was a well officiated play. Again, another one, maybe the same crew, because they're just taking care of business here. Umpire, good job. Don't get killed. See how he played off you? They'll always play off you. They'll use you as a pick. Referee, remember you've got your quarterback. So I would make my way down the field a little bit, not necessarily to the goal line, but just so you can kind of keep an eye on him. In high school, the quarterback always wants to make the tackle on an interception. As you move up the ranks, that's not so much the case. Good job with the line of scrimmage guy being at the goal line. Just a well mechanically executed play. Kudos to this crew. Oops, it's wider here. Okay, here we have our field judge recognizes that. Yeah, hey, I've got forward progress, but he kind of outruns the ball carrier. So the ball carrier is here, and our official is here. So we want to trail the play. Don't get too close, or we're going to get hurt. Okay. So there was a good foul pickup there by the H on that as well. Good hustle, just don't overrun the ball carrier. We start it over again. Let's see. Again, nice job. Almost instinctual, right? Guys are going. Can't say that much for the other side. They kind of lollygagging. Remember, when you got backside, you got to keep up with the play. It's not the time to take it off. H, great job. Excellent. This is exactly what we want to see. R, again, no need to run down here unless you're chasing the quarterback. You don't have any goal line responsibilities. Just a real good job by this S and H here. Brings a tear to my eye. So the H ought to be taken off. You realize that I got to get to the goal line or Brad's going to yell at me. Well, is he officiating or is he just running? Yeah, he's not officiating. Remember, we looked at those other plays where as you're making your way down the sideline, look over your shoulder and continue to officiate. You might get beat, but right there we're down to six officials because number 7 is not officiating. Okay, we're back to the beginning here. All right, that's it for kicks and reverse mechanics. I've got some miscellaneous stuff to cover, but I'll answer any questions.
Brad, while you're getting that together, no other questions at this point in time. But again, as we get towards the end of the presentation here tonight, if you do have questions, there is a Q&A button or link on your Zoom app or your Zoom internet site. If you have any questions, just type those in. We might answer them offline. We might answer them live on the presentation. If you got your hand raised, there's a couple of you guys have your hand raised. I don't know if that's on purpose. But again, if you got a hand raised and you have a question, if you can, again, type your question into the Q&A.
Hey, Tim, Brad, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, who's that?
Hey, so just to make sure we're clear on a question from Max, he asked on a onside kick or squib situation when the receiving team picks it up and returns it, the umpire and judge, what do they do? Is his question. I had answered. They step back and let the officials with the responsibilities on the sideline to move on down. What is your answer to that?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Let the play go by you, and then move out to the your normal position and clean up behind the play. We had two of those in one game last year. It was an onside kick with just a great bounce right into the receiver's breadbasket, and he just took off in a full sprint. Never seen that in 34 years of officiating. We saw it twice in one game, so definitely can happen. Good question. Any other questions on kicks, positioning, reverse mechanics? Okay, got about 5 minutes. Going to go through some. There were some questions last night about where the B sets up. If we're snapped inside the 25-yard line, we want the F and the S to be on the goal line and the B to be on the back line, right? We don't need 3 people on the goal line right now. And we don't need to back up there. So we're right here. The B ought to have started back here. So we've got a deep play into the deep part of the end zone, and nobody's back there. So inside 25 and in, B is on the end line. And then the F and the S are on the goal line. Similar play here. We're snapping from the 25, so our B ought to be on the end line. Nope, we got a play on the end line and nobody there. So critical that we know where we should be, right? All right. So let's look at cross-field mechanics here. So what I mean by cross-field mechanics, oftentimes there's passes in the side zones that the receiver catches the ball almost instantaneously with being hit and driven back, okay? More often than not, I see the line of scrimmage official on that side hustling to try to get the spot, okay? That ain't no longer your spot. So the way we want to play this is as a line of scrimmage official, when you see a pass to the opposite side of the field, get downfield so you're about where the receiver is, and you take that forward progress spot. And what should happen then is now the wing official on that side is trailing the play like he should. Keep that cushion. Don't get too close. You're going to get hurt. Dead ball officiate until all the dust is settled. Calmly look up across the field, and you should see your opposite official with his hand in the air at the forward progress spot, and we'll get that. Oops. Brad screwed up again. No, it's off. I think it just didn't catch up. Let's try this again. Crossfield mechanics. I apologize, fellas and ladies. Again, what we talked about, crossfield mechanics, right?
You covered all your plays, bro.
Right here, he's going to get hit, right? So this guy, right now, saying, I don't have progress anymore. I need to back up and officiate the carnage. This guy, as soon as he sees the pass away, he needs to move down here and get the forward progress spot. So I think if you do that in slow motion, you'll see that this guy's got the forward progress spot. The 28 was correct. This official didn't look over and thinks it's at the 29. So we're just guessing there. We're not in a good position, and we don't need to guess. You got to trust your crewmate. Make sure you pregame that. Boom, hit. This isn't a tough one for this official to get, so I wouldn't expect you to stay back. It's not really at the sideline, but the mechanic that I want to make sure we focus on is passes away, you need to be downfield. Okay, that is, let's see, I got one more. I don't know if it's any better. Might run a few minutes over, but Again, L, as soon as you see that pass, you need to be downfield to get that forward progress spot. Boom. So he was hit somewhere in here. I wasn't paying that much of attention. But right now, that guy ought to just settle in right there and a dead ball officiate. But he runs past. I got to get that spot. Oh. Yeah, no need to do all that. Okay, boys and girls, that's all I got. Questions, please.
All right, we're right up on the hour. If anybody has questions, there's Brad's beard for us all to see.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, I'll stick around and try to answer them. Appreciate you showing up again. This should be recorded and available for review. Let's see if I have. Looks like no open questions. All we got is answered questions, so not too late. Okay. If there are no further questions, I appreciate you participating, all 219 of you. That's awesome. We're going to have a repeat of this week, next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Does the R ever wind on a free kick? Only if we're in scrimmage. Only if we are in short kick mechanics and they kick it deep. Otherwise, it's the line of scrimmage, guys. Make sense? All right, once again, thank you. Next Monday at 6:30, we'll do a redo. It'll be live, so there may be some different plays, different questions, but it'll be 6:30 next Monday for keys, running plays, passes, and goal line. And again, on Tuesday, 6:30, kicks and reverse mechanic. It says, Cooper, you mentioned on the kickoff the B had the goal line. Do the F and lost it.
The question, Brad, was you mentioned on the F, where B had the goal line. Does the F, S, and U also have the goal line?
No. As I said, they stay in the middle of the field and officiate the blocks in front of the play, and as the play passes them, they'll clean up behind. No, they don't have the goal line. All right, no other questions? Appreciate it. Tim, you can stop recording, and adios.